Mustangs fans. Josh Rebin here, voice of the Peoria Mustangs for this edition of Around the Stable Coaches Show. As you can see, joined by assistant coach Clint Ruwe. Clint, seems like it's been a long time since we've been all together at the Owen Center. This past weekend, the boys continuing this road trip up in Rochester, Minnesota. Friday night, not the results anybody wanted. That 7-3 loss. Saturday, 4-3 shootout loss. Weekend as a whole, what was the assessment by the coaching staff?
Well, Friday was pretty pathetic. So we'll just leave it at that. Saturday was better turnout. We played better on Saturday. Moved the puck. They actually did what they were asked to do. And it kind of sucks going in losing the shootout that way, but still got out of there with a point, so that's good.
And looking at Friday, couple goals early in the first period, fell down 4-0. Finally, Perry Lagatu's putting one in shorthanded. He had two shorthanded goals on the night, but it just seemed like Perry got that goal. There was a little bit of a momentum shift there, and then Rochester got another goal, and all momentum was absolutely flush from that point forward. Is that what you guys got from on the bench as well?
What? I didn't get the momentum thing that you got, but he did score a goal, which was nice to put a little into somewhat of misery. But yeah, it was just a terrible game. You can't really say there's momentum anywhere in that game because they didn't show up to play, and Rochester buried us.
And then looking to head to that Saturday night contest, as we talked about just moments ago, a 4-3 shootout loss, and gained a lead early in that one as well. Or the Mustangs gained a lead early in that one as well, scoring just 2:48 in Joey Rancilio. Rochester tied it up. After that first 20 minutes of action, a 1-1 game, kind of a different complexion than Friday night's game. What was the vibe like in the locker room with them guys with a 1-1 game after 20 minutes of action?
It was actually pretty good. Saturday's game was a lot of fun. Joey get out there with that first goal, and they played really well on Saturday, to be honest with you. Everybody wants to blame officials and stuff like that, but we don't really want to go down that route here in Peoria. So it was a good game. Make it to the shootout there, and losing the shootout, but overall, I think we played pretty well, especially against Rochester.
And as you mentioned, going into the shootout, Ethan Chesney tied the game at the 12:47 mark of the third period. And it did not seem like a 3-3 game against Rochester, up in Rochester. It didn't seem like you guys were hanging on to that 3-3 game. It just seemed like you guys kept coming and coming and coming, just couldn't put anything in the back of the net.
Yeah. I like I said 3 times, I think now. I think we played really well on Saturday. It sucked not having T-Money there in the shootout, to have him part of that. But Ethan scored the goal, and then we threw a couple guys out there. Joey had a good look, just missed the net. And it is what it is.
And looking in between the pipes in that shootout loss, Cam Pendleton, first start in over 2 months for Cam. How did you guys as a coaching staff feel he played throughout, that being his first start in quite some time?
Yeah, Cam got to come in there after the first game in, I don't know what, second period of the first game, something like that. Maybe, yeah, second period. So he got some to look at some pucks there and live, and then he came in on Sunday and on Saturday and played well. Kept us in there and made a lot of great saves.
And now looking ahead, St. Louis Junior Blues, the last road series before the Christmas break, and prior to the NA3HL showcase, rather, heading down to St. Louis first time, 4-0 head-to-head against this Junior Blues team. What's the coaching staff doing so these guys don't get complacent going in with a big head saying, well, we've beat them 4 times, 5th time, 6th time going to be the same outcome?
Well, they just won 2 games last weekend, right?
Exactly.
So, that's what you tell them. They can win. Just because you show up doesn't mean you're going to win. Teams go into places like St. Louis that are struggling and think they're going to show up and have all kinds of points and do that, and they end up with a loss. So we just have to go into it just like it's a game against Rochester or a game against Granite or a game against Oregon anymore, and Milwaukee. So you just got to give it your best and stick to the game plan and do what you're actually coached to do, and you'll probably come out on top.
And looking at that pair of games down at the Afton Ice Rink, a 3:30 p.m. afternoon game on Saturday, and then shift gears for an 11 a.m. game. Some of these first year guys that have never got to experience this. How hard is that for a coaching staff to kind of help them get prepared for an afternoon game and then a game in the morning?
Well, hell, I mean, they're going to have to do it next weekend in Blaine, right? And we get to come home early on Sunday. So I'm not really against it at all, to be honest with you. But I think they just need to show up and play hockey. I mean, they're kids, they're resilient. A lot of them just coming out of midgets have been playing games earlier than that. These old guys like Hags with the Rivermen who can't do that 2 days in a row early like that. So, I think they'll be just fine.
And then looking ahead, you mentioned the NA3HL showcase. With the excitement of that showcase, kind of getting to see new opponents, new building, first time some of these young men have been up there. How do you contain that excitement? Say, hey, we'll worry about that next week. Let's focus on the task at hand.
I mean, we just, we're preparing to go up there and play. And, like Blakey always says, every game you have to stick to the game plan. And when these kids stick to the game plan and stick to what they're taught, they do well. Doesn't matter who we're playing against. And then once they want to play their game and go off the rails and do their thing, then, I think most of the time we end up with an L doing that. We did that in Milwaukee. We've done that Rochester. We did that against Granite City. So, yeah. And then you play good one game when you play the systems and what you're taught. And then next game, you do what you want to do and you end up losing. So I would hope they'd come think we should just do what we're asked to do and we can win hockey games.
Absolutely. But Mustangs fans, Mustangs on the road this weekend. As I said, the 10th and 11th of December, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday, 3:30 p.m. start down at the Afton Ice Rink. Sunday morning, 11 a.m. So get your breakfast in early that day. NA3HL Showcase coming up. We'll talk about that a little more on the next episode of Around the Stable Coaches Show. But until next time, Clint, thank you for your time. Greatly appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
This is Mustangs Around the Stable Coaches Show.